All right, let's also tell you how the United States is now heading for a high-stakes clash over U.S. President Donald Trump's war against Iran. Remember, Trump is legally bound to seek approval from the Congress if he wants to carry on with Operation Epic Fury beyond the 1st of May. The clock is ticking for Trump. The U.S. Congress, under the War Powers Resolution, puts a 60-day deadline for any military operation that does not have congressional approval. Now, this puts the focus back on the Capitol Hill, where Democrats are preparing to corner the U.S. president. This could be the strongest opportunity for the Democrats to pose a serious challenge to Trump's war on Iran. According to a report published by The Time, Democrats are planning to sue Donald Trump if he tries to ignore the Congress on this particular issue. For nearly 8 weeks, remember, the Republicans have thwarted Democratic efforts to terminate military operation in Iran. But now they're planning to take a legal route as well. The 60-day deadline comes as Operation Epic Fury enters a critical stage. According to Axios, CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper is set to present a new battle plan before Donald Trump. The plan could potentially involve further military action in Iran to force it into a nuclear deal of Washington's choice. Donald Trump, who relies on ultimatums, is now facing one himself. But remember, historically, several American presidents have engaged in prolonged military conflicts without formal declaration of war. So even if Trump goes down that path, a legal battle seems inevitable over the limits of his war powers versus those of the Congress. Our correspondent Susan Tehrani is joining us live on the broadcast from New York. Susan, this is just a few hours away that we are from the 1st of May when that deadline occurs. Donald Trump clearly facing that mounting challenge. The 60-day period is ending, but he also has the option of extending it for 30 more days. The only condition in that extension is to assure the Congress that you will end the war or at least withdraw your troops. Is that assurance coming in from Donald Trump?
So we're just getting report that the White House is in active conversation with congressional leaders about this War Powers Act. However, as you mentioned, this act that is federal law has a history where presidents really don't abide by it strictly. And they believe that it limits the authority of the commander-in-chief of the armed forces as U.S. president. But nonetheless, a White House official says that not only is the president and the White House in active conversation with congressional leaders, but ultimately that the White House prefers the path to diplomacy rather than war, and they believe that Iran is ready to make a deal. They also pointed out that until now, they have not broken any federal law because on the onset of the war, the White House did inform congressional leaders that this operation was going to take place. So that's coming from the White House. However, it's not clear whether or not President Trump wants to go to Congress to get this reauthorization for the continuation of this war. But I also want to say it's noteworthy that congressional leaders also and members of Congress and also the Senate, they try to shy away from voting on wars in general. So it's not like they're really eager to pass this as well, because they will go on record regarding this war. And as we saw, for example, in the Iraq war, once you go on record, that's going to really be either to your benefit or to your detriment, depending on the direction that the war goes.
And historically, we have seen that the U.S. Congress hasn't really given that formal official approval of declaring a war against any country. But we'll have to wait and see how this moves forward. The 1st of May is that deadline. Susan, thanks very much for joining us at the moment.